Are here at the Atlanta Theater, Metron Community. Glad those of you who are logging on, welcome. If I look a little clearer to you, it's because we got a new camera, so help us with that. And grateful to see you all this morning, and believe I've got a good word for you today. Somebody tell me, what are you grateful for this morning?
I'm grateful to be here. Last week I didn't feel too well. I felt.
Not the same without you over there. I felt imbalanced.
Yeah, there you go.
Somebody else, what you grateful for?
I understand that I get it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very, very thankful for that because I'm getting a lot of understanding.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. Somebody else, nobody's grateful on this? This is the ungrateful side. What are y'all ungrateful for then? This side needs to pray for this side. They got nothing to be grateful. What you grateful for, Father?
I'm just grateful this morning to be here among all these people.
How did you learn to speak English so well? It's like you've spoken it your whole life. He said that's actually a big joke in Liberia now. They've been speaking English in Liberia since the 1800s, so I would think they have the hang of it by now. All right. We are grateful. We are alive. We are well. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead dwells in us, brings us to life, quickens our mortal body. We decree that something unprecedented happens here today. This particular configuration of people today will create some particular synergy that will show us another facet of the diamond that is Christ. And we are dazzled by the light of it. Let us walk in the light of it. We are walking in the light today. And when the night is cloudy, there's still a light that shines on us, and it shines until tomorrow. We honor the awareness of the presence of God, the Holy Spirit. You are welcome and embraced in this place. In your name, amen. Please remain standing. Let's do the prayer. Oh, that's cool. Our Father who art in heaven, presence of divine love and light that lives within us and within all of life, hallowed be thy name. We invoke the powerful creative nature of all that is sacred and holy. Thy kingdom come. We embrace the healing essence that is the kingdom of heaven within us. Thy will be done. We accept our greatest good as we align with our divine nature. On earth as it is in heaven, knowing that the affairs of our lives reflect our evolving consciousness. Give us this day our daily bread. Each day we receive great blessings from within and throughout all the activities of our lives. And forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. We accept the divine nature of all things and all people, including ourselves, as we move away from judgment and toward greater awareness of divine presence. And lead us not into temptation. We shall be vigilant in expressing and experiencing the oneness with all life. But deliver us from evil as we are learning to live without fault-finding and suffering. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. For we accept the consciousness of divine perfection with all its power and glory right here, right now, and forever. Amen, and so it is. Tell somebody there's nobody I'd rather sit next to you than you today. And really mean it this time, today. Come in, and then you may be seated. Thanks, you may be seated. I want to say congratulations to Ken. He became a grandfather Monday. That's little Henry Lanier, right? Marshall, and he got here about a week later than they expected, but he's doing good, and they live in like around Rome, Georgia, which like he works an hour and a half away from where we are, and so he left there and went all the way to there. He left from east and went to west, and then nothing was happening, so he was there for hours. So we drove back to Stone Mountain, and then a few hours later, it was late. It was like 11 o'clock, and he said, "I'm going back." I said, "You're going now?" And he did. So he didn't sleep for about 24 hours, but yeah, he's doing good. But we didn't know boys could still be born. Because, I have three granddaughters. He has two granddaughters. My granddaughters have 6 stepsisters. And we didn't have boys. It was still possible. So anyway, he's here and he's beautiful. And these pictures have been approved. I said, make sure you get clearance. I'm not talking to you, Siri. Hush.
Excuse me, sir.
What? What's that?
You said you had 3 granddaughters. You got
Thank you.
you got 4.
You are correct. Thank you. My apologies, Raphael. I haven't seen her in a month, so it's like yes, I thank you very much. I nearly said 2, and no, I got 3. And, no, I have 4. You are correct. Thank you. Thanks for keeping tabs on my family, since apparently I don't. So anyway, we're grateful for that. Our outreach this month is CARE, and we've given several times in the last 11 years to them. Great, well-respected, well-vetted, global charity. Now, next Sunday, as God is my witness, we're going to be on St. Simon's. If you're not going, don't come here, because ain't nobody going to be here. You'll just be sitting here. You'll get a parking space, but there won't be anybody here. Extra parking, but that'll be it. And we've got a good group going already, and looking forward to it. I posted. I did a composite of all the different because we've had rainbows in St. Simon's, Jekyll, and Dahlonega, and I posted some of them yesterday. So now there's a lot of rainbow pressure. I always remember Sonia called me the rainbow whisperer. So I'm putting that on my resume. Oh, thanks for having those, Michelle. That was St. Simon's. And so anyway, it's going to be good. And also remember August 31st, we're going to be at the Movement in Conyers. And so again, don't come here that day. We'll be over there. I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and get into I'm going to start the word now, and I'm going to do a little meditation at the end, sort of to prepare us for next. Consider your meditation week started when we start that today. And
Yesterday was your consecration anniversary.
Oh.
26. Yes.
20,
26 years.
I think it was 27.
27 years on the 26th.
Yes.
There's a lot of 26s.
Thanks for reminding me of that. Yes, it was my the anniversary of my consecration yesterday. And that was a very interesting time last year, because I had just posted that morning about it, and that was the day that, because remember I said that when I was consecrated, Mark Hamby, when he laid hands on me, he said a zephyr just blew through here, and I always think about that when I look at the picture. And that was the day that I met the guy on the elevator. It was just like about an hour later. I said, your name is Zephyr? And he said, yes, Jimmy. Zephyr means, I'm not exaggerating. Zephyr is a gentle breeze from the west. I'm like, I know. Which I think, I'm not exactly sure, but I think Henry was born on the year anniversary of Ken's third little episode last year, which is significant because, you know, that was such a scary thing. And then to think, you know, if we had known the future, to say, because I even did a post that day where I said, I don't know what's going to be like when we get back home, because I had no idea if he could walk, because when we were living in my Atlanta house, you have to walk up to where the bedroom is. And I thought, I don't know what we're going to do. Let's play it by ear. And we don't have to do any of that. And he's totally fine. But then for the baby to be born, because we had no idea you'd be a grandfather a year later. Because last Thanksgiving, Brandon and Kinley we were talking to them. Come on in. And come in. I know you. Welcome. Hello. Cool. Always glad when you guys are here. You guys have been listening to me a long time. Yeah, you have. Doesn't act like, officer, I've never seen this man before. But we were standing, my Walmart shirt. I used to shop at Saks Fifth Avenue. Now I'm just like, just go to Walmart. It's fine. You can't tell any difference. I get more compliments. I've paid high dollar stuff that nobody ever noticed. Go buy a $12 shirt at Walmart. I was like, oh my God, I've never seen. Like, what can I tell you? But anyway, we were standing up by the fire pit with them, and so I'm making conversation with them. I said, hey, we just found out that Jonah and Sophie are pregnant. They're having a baby in April. And Brandon said, they're not the only ones. We've been trying to think of how to tell you. I said, well, I think you just told us. And now here we are a year later, and they're both here, and, you know, it's all good. Good. So we are grateful. All right. Welcome to the Metron Live podcast coming to you from the Atlanta Theater. Metron people, please welcome the podcast people. Hello, podcast people. People of the planet Podcastia. I speak into this atmosphere and I say, let there be light. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me to preach liberty to the captives, the opening of the prison of them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. And everybody said, Amen. All right, we finished up our series last week, a three-part series. I post a lot of the feedback. Some of the feedback I got was personal enough that I didn't share it because it was people saying sort of things that had happened to them in their childhood. But to say that it struck a nerve would be an understatement. It definitely was a timely word. And I even considered possibly making it a four-part, but I do have something I want to share today. And you remember in I don't remember if it was in all the sequels, but in the original Men in Black movie, remember when they were dealing with, if you saw that, they were, these guys were cops to deal with aliens, like from outer space. And they had this silver thing where if you saw an alien, they would do that, and it would erase the memory of it. So the people had what?
Yeah,
People,
that's right.
what?
The nebulizer.
The what?
The nebulizer.
Nebulizer?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just watch TBN all the time, so I don't go to the movies like you worldly people do. But I heard this was in the movie. Anyway, they would, sort of bonk you with it, and you would forget that you had an interaction with an alien. I'm going to use a couple of verses of scripture that are so familiar to you. I want to go, you've never heard this before. I want to teach it like I've never taught it before. That's where my faith is today. So come up higher and agree with me. Because, and I'm going to say something that sounds abstract, but we're communicating right here, but we're also communicating up here. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense to your spirit? Like I'm sitting in a physical location talking to you, but there's some space. Like you remember that old blues song, "Up Above My Head"? There's music. There's music in the air. There's revelation up above us. So I want you to ascend the mountain of the Lord and come up to where that space is. Meet us up there. I want us to have an out-of-body experience today. All right. This is from the New Testament. It's from the Bible, the Judeo-Christian ethic. This is from a book in the New Testament that no one has claimed authorship for. I personally have always just believed it was Paul, that he just sounded different because he was talking to his homies. He used vernacular that he probably wouldn't have used talking to Asians, because most of his letters were written to churches that were in his bishopric in Asia Minor. This was a letter to the people he grew up with. So he used terminology. He talked about things like, the author talked about things like the priesthood and the temple and the tabernacle, things that would have been lost on Corinthians and Galatians. So, and if Paul didn't write it, it's not a point of contention with me. It's like, that's just my personal belief. There is a certain vibe in Hebrews that's very different from the rest of the New Testament books. And the most famous part of the book of Hebrews is what we call chapter 11. And I'm going to show you, this is chapter 11, verse 1, Hebrews 11:1. My title is Now Faith Is. It comes from that verse. Now faith is practicing the power of presence. It's cool. Michelle, you're slamming on the graphics today. What the heck? This is Hebrews 11:1 in the Amplified Classic. Now faith is the assurance, the confirmation, the title deed of the things we hope for, being the proof of things we do not see, and the conviction of their reality. Faith perceiving as real fact what is not revealed to the senses. King James, you might be more familiar with, is now faith is the evidence of things not seen, the substance of things hoped for. That's a beautiful line there. It's just poetically balanced, and just you could teach on it forever. And I have taught a lot on so much of my journey was influenced by the charismatic and faith movement, and the two sweetheart verses of that movement were Mark 11:24 and Hebrews 11:1. And Mark 11:24 is speak to the mountain. Hebrews 11:1 is faith is the evidence of things not seen. The emphasis is that the words now and the word is. And this is faith teaching 101. Hope is in the future, faith is now. Hope says I want it one day, faith says I have it now. Faith calls those things which are not as though they are. That's just basic faith teaching, okay? Let me show you, this is Hebrews 11:6, and this is in the New King James Version. It says, for he who comes to God must believe that he is, there's the word is again, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. He is another tense of I am, okay? You have a past. For the last 3 weeks, that's what I've been talking about, how you're dealing with your history and dealing with people who are dealing with their histories. So we don't deny that the past existed. We can't even deny that the past is still affecting us, because it is. Living in the now is important. It also needs to be qualified, because there are some things you should remember. If you're in an abusive relationship that doesn't show any signs of improvement, you might need to remember some of the things that have happened. And somebody says, give somebody the benefit of the doubt. Well, if they deserve it. Some things are, what's the old, it's the saying that W messed up so much of, fool me once, that's on you, fool me twice, that's on me. And so the whole point of that is the famous Maya Angelou quote, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time. So, yeah, we want to love people unconditionally. Yeah, we want to know people after the spirit and not after the flesh. We also need to remember that some people are toxic and some people trigger us, and we need to avoid certain people. Bishop, I thought we were supposed to love everybody. In theory, you are. In reality, you do not love everybody. And you've never met anybody that loves everybody. It's a city set on a hill. And I guess there's some lofty moments where you feel so evolved that you think, I just love everybody in the world. And then something will happen, somebody will bring you right back down into reality. I love everybody in the world except you. And then you can be at that place where you're like, I hate everybody in the world, but of all the people I hate you the least. I'm going to come back to this, but let me show you. This is a meditation that I wrote earlier this week, and I don't always refer to my meditations. This one I'm particularly proud of. I think it kind of went under the radar, and a lot of people didn't see it. And I think it's very important. Some of these things I've taught before. I have not said them quite this way before. Again, you have not heard this before. Clink. All right. This is what I wrote. Carpe diem, the phrase carpe diem, as you probably know, is a Latin phrase meaning seize the day. It encourages living in the present moment and making the most of the opportunities at hand, as the future is uncertain. What you may not know is that the famous phrase is a shortened version of a quote by the Roman poet Horace. Horace lived about 600, not 600, but many years before, several hundred years before Jesus. I mean, because when you BC counts backwards. So he died 800 years before Jesus was born. Is that right? Yeah. The full version being Carpe Diem quam minimum credula postero. It translates to pluck the day, trusting as little as possible in the next one. Now stop right there. Annie sang, the sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. It's a great song. It has a lot of good vibe to it. Yes, there's certainly something very important about believing that this thing's going to be resolved. Prophecies would come forth in the scriptures that would say, about this time tomorrow, such and such. So I'm not taking tomorrow away from you. I want you to believe that tomorrow's going to be okay. I just want you to consider this other idea, because he says, pluck the day, like plucking a flower. Pluck the day, trusting as little as possible in the next one. That's interesting. Because what that's saying is, I got to get my head around what is, not hoping what will be. Hoping what will be has its place. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. Yeah, tomorrow's fine. Yeah, that's great. Weeping may endure for the night. Joy comes in the morning. Beautiful. We love that idea. Steadfast love of the Lord never fails. His mercies never come to an end. They're new every morning. Love it. When, however, you're in the middle of the night, you got to deal with some isness business. Yeah, I'm believing tomorrow we'll get here, but it ain't tomorrow yet. Okay? It was an allusion to the manna that the Israelites ate in the wilderness, which could only be consumed one day at a time. According to the Exodus narrative, it was a miraculous food that God provided during their 40-year journey through the desert, described as a white, flaky substance like coriander seed, tasting like honey wafers. But manna was not technically a noun word as much as it was the question manhu, which is Hebrew, romanized as manhu, seemingly meaning what is it? In other words, they ate it every day, but never really knew what it was. The great Mahalia Jackson was famous for singing, and actually, her name just escaped me. Who sang Respect? Aretha. I knew it was an A. I'm like, it's an A name. I have heard of Aretha Franklin. Please don't send me stuff. I will break into a chorus of Dr. Feelgood right now. I know every word, and I can lip sync it for you. Call me sometime. I'll perform it for you. You have no idea how good I am. I tell you, girls, I dig ya, but I just don't have time to sit and chit and sit and chit. Okay. That was when the famous line came out. She sings the devil's music to gospel riffs. But anyway, Aretha covered this too, but Mahalia is more famous for singing How I Got Over. And the line says, my soul looks back and wonder how I got over. Like, how the heck how did I get through that? So that's kind of what this is saying. It's like they ate every day, and there it is. We can't predict it, but 40 years, there it is. We still have no idea what it was, but we ate something. Something happened. You can have a encounter with somebody and you're like, I don't know what this person just did to me, but something just happened. And I don't even know, I can't even explain what it was, for good or for bad. Sometimes somebody can say something to you that makes you feel a certain way, positive or negative, and you're like, what just happened? Some people can affect you so much that you change. Like, wow, something just shifted in me when I encountered you. All right. It couldn't be defined and it couldn't be stored up because it would spoil if kept overnight. It became a symbol for living in the now, not necessarily because the one who eats it wants to, but because he or she has no other alternative. The mystery of it all is actually the point. I don't know if you know who the comedian Leanne Morgan is, real country white woman, but hysterically funny. And we were watching some of her, I was showing him some interviews that she's recently done. She's about to do a Netflix series. And her autobiography, memoir, came out a few months ago, and it's called What in the World? I listened to it. I've listened to it a couple times. It's good. It's funny. Her whole thing is trying to explain everything that's happened in her life without just going, what in the world? That's the way she talks. What in the world? Don't make me go. I can do Leanne Morgan riffs too. I can do Aretha, I can do Leanne. What you want? The mystery of it all is actually the point, especially for people on the move who didn't or don't have time to settle down and plant crops for their sustenance. Will the manna or the what is it be there tomorrow morning? Who knows? It's not like, you stay in a nice hotel. Sometimes they'll have a thing you can order breakfast. Put a little thing on the a little menu thing on your door, and we'd like French toast in the morning. God didn't do that. Everything was 40 years in the now. It's not, I'm going to have breakfast for you every morning. It's like, no, just wait and see. Well, you've been eating it 30 years. I know, but tomorrow, it might not be there tomorrow. Well, what can I tell you? You're going to have to eat breakfast one morning at a time. We don't even know what it is. The ones who eat it have no choice but to live and eat it in the now. In Him we move. I just taught on that a few weeks ago. These people were moving. They didn't have time for an agricultural lesson about these are the crops that will grow well in this part of the country. Like they're not staying long enough to plow. They're eating on the move. Has anybody noticed how fast life is going? You know what? You're making lots of loops around Sinai. And you're also simultaneously going into your own promised land, but there's still a whole lot of nomadic, just moving. It's just fast. You know my theory on that. I'm going to tell you again. When you're a year old, one revolution around the sun is 100% of your life. 2 is 50% of your life. Every year that you make that revolution relative to your lifespan, it gets faster and faster and faster. That's why, I know I always say this, that's why when you were 7 and somebody asked you how old you were, you said, I'll be 8 in September. Or I'm 8 3/4. Now you're like, good God, it's my birthday again? Didn't we just do this? I swear the last 2 years I've taken down our Christmas tree. I'm like, we should just leave it up. Because it's such a hassle to take it down. And I have to have, when I'm at the loft, that for some crazy reason, they don't give you a key to where the storage space. I have to go find the concierge, hoping that somebody's there who can walk up there and it's just a whole thing. Last year I thought, it's going to be Christmas again in 3 weeks. I'm just leaving the thing up. We're not even here that much. Some people do that. I know people that got the room for it. Just drape something over the tree at Christmas because it's coming so fast. They used to say it's slow as Christmas. Christmas ain't slow anymore. So, yes, two things are true at once. You are in your promised land, but you're also being led by a cloud by day and a fire by night. The prayer is, give us this day, not give me bread today. Michelle, did we skip a frame? Because I thought I brought up the Lord's Prayer before that. If not, it's fine. I'll make it work. It's good. Just go back to where you were. Even when Jesus referred to himself as the bread from heaven, he was perhaps implying that the Jesus you knew yesterday is not necessarily the Jesus you know today or will know tomorrow. Just hang on. This concept of spiritual evolution is a powerful counterbalance to Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever, because even though the manna in the wilderness was the same every day for 40 years, it couldn't be predicted or cultivated as a crop, could only be experienced in the present moment, and cease to exist once the Israelites reached their promised land. Read into that what you will. Now just hang on. Probably every one of us, well, I know most of you I have some history with. You've been connected to my ministry for some period of time. Probably you had some interaction with Christianity before you met me. So you had some concept of Jesus and the Bible and that sort of thing. I dare say you don't look at things like you looked at them when you first met me. I know for myself, I don't look at things the way I looked at them a year ago. I know very much what it's like to believe that I have revelation, believe that voice that's spoken to me since before I can remember, where I'm completely dependent on it. I have to have revelation. I'm not a preacher. I don't even know how to define what I'm doing right now. It's manna. It's manhu. Like, we don't know what it is. Some of you like, we don't know what it is. We've been driving up to listen to you do whatever it is you do. And we don't even know why we keep coming back for it, because God knows we've heard those stories. But once in a while, we get nourished from it. I don't know. I can't figure it out either. It's not like there are other places for you to go. Why do you keep coming back here? I don't know. What does he do? We don't know. What is it?
It's just good.
We do T-shirts, but we don't know what it is. It's just good. I know this. I love Jesus. I did see I don't post over this because I'm tired of fighting with people, but lots of celebrities passed away in the last few weeks. There were, I saw some memes of Hulk Hogan going to heaven and being surprised that Jesus was black. It was like black Jesus was meeting him, and he was like, "No way." Hulk Hogan, I know, if you're a wrestling fan, but he had a little parlay with the N-word. He got busted for it on more than one occasion. And I thought that was funny. I would love to post it, but nah. It ain't worth it, Miss Seeley. But I know this, the Jesus I grew up with barely resembles the Jesus I know now. So what changed? He's the bread from heaven. And you know what? I don't want to be able to fully define him. The idea of figuring Jesus out. This is who he is. This is, I've said this a lot, but I love in the Gospels, everyone that had there didn't seem to be any formula for a connection with Jesus. There certainly didn't seem to be a formula for people either being born again or saved, whatever you want to call that. Harlot washes his feet with her hair. That worked. Zacchaeus returned. So I'm going to return the money I've stolen from people fourfold. Jesus stands up and says, "This day, this salvation has come to your house." You can't. He defied regimentation. He'd heal people enough that you think, "Oh, this is how he does it." Well, then one day a blind man, he picks up some dirt and spits in it. He spits in dirt and makes mud and puts it on the... What, are you going to build a doctrine around that? We're the church of the muddy eye. But that's really what denominations are. Yes. Denominations are you picked out one thing that you liked and it crystallized, and that became not only your ism, but your way to be a Pharisee, a separatist, to say, all of us, we believe mud in the eye. We're not like you people that dipped in the Jordan 7 times for healing. We believe, the Bible says, he spit in the dirt. And he made mud. He made mud. We believe in the mud. Oh, I know it was the mud for me. There is power, wonder working power in the mud. But I know that sounds crazy, but that's where they've obsessed over one particular thing. One particular thing that scratched the itch for them, and they stopped right there. Yeah. But I remember, especially when I started moving toward telling full truth about what I believed about God, what I believed about myself. It took a while because I grew up in an environment that frowned on telling the truth. My environment says, say what we tell. You tell people who we say God is. And I remember, this hasn't happened in years, but I remember lots of times sitting in my office at Church of the Now before I go out, and I just know I had this word. If that's not a word from God, then I've never met God. But I would say, God, do you know what you just said to me? Like, how am I going? That's completely contrary to everything I was taught. And I always got the impression, not that God would give me an ultimatum, but it's like, well, if you don't say it, I'll find somebody else who will. But somebody needs to say this. And it's going to, the isness of this is going to mess with a lot of people's wasness. Because the Jesus you're talking about doesn't sound like the Jesus that Big Mama told me about. And how do I reconcile my respect for my ancestry and still say, but this feels like a now word to me? Something about what you're saying not only resonates with me, but I feel like I already knew it. It doesn't just feel revelatory, it feels familiar. Did I meet you somewhere up here? Were we up here somewhere and had a conversation? And what we're doing right now is acting out in the physical realm what's already happened in the spirit realm. Why do I feel like I know you? Because I guess you did. So, Jesus said, your ancestors ate manna in the wilderness and they still died. I'm the bread from heaven. It was very similar to him saying to the woman at the well, I'm the living water. Paul, I can't remember the reference, but it's where he talks about in the wilderness they all drank from that rock. And that rock was Christ. He talked about Christ prior to Bethlehem. Christ was here before the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. The fourth man in the fire was Christ. Was it Jesus? No, it was Christ. I don't even want to try to explain the difference to you. Listen to me. I can't tell you how to know Christ. I can tell you all about Jesus. We can have Sunday school, and I can tell you his miracles and talk about him walking on the water. I can tell you that for days. Knowing Christ is something that can't be intellectualized. Do you understand? Yeah. Jesus embodied the Christ. They drank of that spiritual rock, and that rock was Christ. Later on in Hebrews 11, it talks about how Moses, something about he embraced the reproach for the sake of Christ, rejecting sin for a season, something like that. But he talks about Christ even in the Exodus, long before Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Let yourself hear that. Because right now, out of my belly is flowing rivers of living water. So make contact with that. Okay? All right, let's go on. Is your understanding of God or spiritual things different than it was in the past? Good. The bread from heaven can't be stored in jars of doctrine and dogma, or else it will be filled with the deadly worms of legalism. The I am can only be known in the now. Are you uncertain about exactly what's going on, what's going to happen in your life tomorrow? Good. It is not for you to know the times or seasons. Acts chapter 1. Ken told me this morning he's very good friends with the woman. Actually, used to be married to his brother. His brother's been married more than once, but he's still. And so they're good friends. Well, he told me this morning. He said Kay's mother died last night. She's 96. I can't help but think, because I'm dealing with somebody that I think, do I have another decade of caretaking? Because I was up all night taking care of somebody who's 87. And I'm only human enough to say, just give me a heads up. Is this the next decade of my life? I just need to know, because I need to make some plans. And I would love to get a voucher for manna tomorrow. I would love it if the bread from heaven would say, don't you worry. There'll be enough for you every day. Like, you know, it's like you think God only exists in the now or something. Because you talk about tomorrow and God's like, what are you talking about? Because I live in eternity. Eternity's the now. I know, God, that's fine. But I need to know, when am I going to retire? And when do I do this? And when do I start getting to it? Because I got to make plans. That's kind of not the plane that God lives on. You ever tried to say, God, we need a miracle by this time tomorrow? One day with the Lord is as 1,000 years. You know what? That's not really helping me right now. I appreciate the 1 day, 1,000 year thing, but right now, Tuesday's very real. That's a hard date. It's like I'm getting notices about it's got to be done by Tuesday. One day with the Lord, it's 1,000 years. Oh, that's precious where you live. But where I live in the real world, we're very time conscious. It is not for you to know the times or seasons, but you shall receive power. That's a reference to Acts chapter 1. Prediction and foretelling have their place, and living with intention is crucial. By that I mean, prophecy's fine. I've been prophesied over. It's lovely to have a prophecy. Like, tell me exactly what's going to happen this time next year. But I'm going to tell you something. A year ago, just seeing Ken get up out of the bed and walk down the hall for the first time, I didn't have any vision past that. I was just so happy. Oh my God, he's walking. And he's still alive. And he knows who I am. If you had said, I know, but a year from now, he's going to be a grandfather again. But you know what? Right now, I'm just trying to make it down to that window. He's going to walk down to that window at the end of this hall in this hospital. We'll walk back there. Because that's as far as man is going to take me right now. I can't deal with tomorrow. Because you know what? A lot of other stuff's happened in a year that I didn't see coming. So prophecy has its place. Scripture says despise not prophesying. I don't. But can I tell you this? Prophecy kind of speaks to your potential. Prophecy tells you what's in the realm of possibility. It's not an exact science, which is why it has to be judged. We watched pretty much all the seasons of American Idol when Katy Perry was one of the judges. And I was really interested in it because I used to be really good friends with Katy Perry's parents. I met them in Israel in 1981, and Keith and Mary used to come to my church and preach, and I went to their church in Santa Barbara. That's when I met Jane Russell, and she took me out on a boat. And I have a lot of history with them. Not so much after I came out. But Mary Hudson, who was her mother, is the first person who ever told me about Kim Clement. She said, do you know who Kim Clement is? I said, I know. So, I mean, we have a lot of interaction. And, Keith and Mary came from that charismatic tradition of prophesying over people. That's what, they'd call people out and give you a word. And I used to listen to Katie Because Katie's outrageous. You know, her first big hit was I Kissed a Girl. And that was like a lot of pearl clutching over that song. But I would listen to her talk to these people who were auditioning. And I thought, gosh, you can tell she was raised around prophecy. Because the way she would, and it was good, but like the way she would speak to them, like it was prophetic. Mm-hmm. But it's also not an absolute. My issue with prophecy, especially when it would happen a lot, is I would see a lot of people would get stuck there. Like I knew someone very well years ago who told me that someone had prophesied over him he was going to marry a woman with blonde hair. So he would meet these other women, and he wasn't interested in them because they like, well, you know. So he finally did marry somebody, and she, when I saw pictures of her, she wasn't originally a blonde. I mean, I was raised with somebody who bleached their hair, so I mean, I'm very familiar with. I know how that works. I know what that looks like. Anytime somebody says they dyed the hair blonde, I'm like, no, you don't dye it, you bleach it. You dye something darker. If you want it to be lighter, you bleach it, and then you put a color toner on it, and it takes this long. I mean, I knew. I used to sit at beauty shops while my mom was getting it done. I know how that works. And so, I mean, I'm not in contact with him now, but the last time I saw a picture of them, I thought, well, he found somebody who made the prophecy work. Which is fine. I find, and this, I don't know if this is happening with you or not, I find the more I evolve, the less I get prophesied over. It's kind of like I don't really need it. And I also believe I'm creating my reality.
Right. Amen.
So the person who prophesies over me the most is me.
Yeah.
That's it. Yes.
I mean, you can have a shot at it, but I don't think you're going to do as well prophesying over me as I do over myself. And let me tell you something, I hold myself accountable. We had a very busy weekend. We're going to be gone next weekend. I got to have people stay at the house with my mom. There were several things we had to do, had to get done. It was a bit like he's worked like a Trojan this weekend, which I don't make him do it. He does it. But he got there Friday night and he mowed. I didn't ask him to. He said, I'm mowing right now. I went out there two or three times. I said, you want me to take over? No, I got it. All right, fine. What did you do? You mowed. We got the new mattress that we got this bed, a mattress that's on a platform that sits up, and it had brackets to attach to the headboard that we already had, and they were a pain. And it was one of those things where he's like, well, lift it up while I'm doing the thing. And I'm like, I can't hold it too long. Go do it quick. I got to put it down. It was one of those things. What else? Oh, we had to buy a new dresser. Got that, and he went and bought new knobs for it, changed those out. He's still in the middle of where the people that built that house in 1976 put an intercom system in, which is obsolete. But when I took them out, there's a big hole in every bedroom. So we're going through all the patching and the sanding, and we're in the middle of that. We're not even through with it yet. What's my point of telling you that? Where was I going with that? So I'm not prophesying. Oh, and so during the day, a couple of times, because in the middle of everything, I'm also in major caretaking mode. And things like, while I'm holding the bed, the doorbell's ringing. I'm like, who the heck is the door? And I go down, and it's the dog groomer. And I'm like, Mom's still asleep with the dog under her arm. I can't. And I said, she knows you were coming. He says, yeah, I come every 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, well, you're going to have to change that. You're going to so I'm trying to, meanwhile, he's like, he wasn't yelling, but I knew. He's like, he needs me upstairs. And she's telling me about her cat that was old. And I'm like, lady, please. She said, I said, I can't wake her up. She's been up all night. You're going to have to come back. Well, she's going to lose her deposit. Well, then she's going to have to lose her deposit. I've got to go back upstairs. And that was just the beginning of the day. So a couple of times during the day, there might have been a couple of words that came out of my mouth. So last night, and I'll tell you about one of them in a minute, but last night, I was telling him good night. I said, thanks for all that you did. And I said, I'm sorry I lose my cool sometimes. I know better, but it's just, there's a lot. And meanwhile, the thing that nobody sees is the whole time I'm doing this, my phone is buzzing constantly with people needing something. So I've got a whole thing going on my phone that he didn't even know about, that I'm trying to, meet can you write a blurb for this book? Okay, send me some bullet points. And, it's like lots of things. And I'm not complaining about it. I'm used to it. I'm just saying sometimes you got enough stuff on your plate, you're already balancing it, and somebody says, can I just put this cup up there? And you're like, please don't. And his last words were, it's all good. And I'm like, okay, I went to sleep on that. It's all good. Well, I went to sleep for a little while. But anyway, the point is, what is the point? Oh, the point is, why am I telling you this? So I'm at predicting your future. Oh, there actually was a valid point to this. It'll come back to me. Y'all still with me?
Yes.
What was the point?
You were saying something about prophecy is not absolute.
Yeah. What does that have to do with the house, though? I don't know. What?
She said, welcome to the club. Yeah.
No, I've actually been doing a lot better about that. It's just, I know. I have had very little sleep. Prediction and foretelling have their place, and living with intention are crucial. But sustenance from manna means you don't know how it's going to get here, or where it's going to come from, or even what it actually is. But that when tomorrow morning arrives, breakfast will be somehow served, and it will empower you to get through another day. Mangia, that's the Italian for eat. Which there's a whole teaching in that about Jesus was laid in a manger because it's the word mangia, which is, he was symbolically the bread. But the idea that, yes, the bread was the same for 40 years, but it also was indefinable. Yeah. And here's what I want to talk to you about. But let me finish this outline, and then I'm going to talk to you for a minute, and I'm going to let you go. So Emerson says this, I've used this quote before, but it serves my purpose today. Cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. All right, what's the next one? This is Dr. Dyer said this. Each experience in your life was absolutely necessary in order to have gotten you to the next place and the next step up until this very moment. So my point in saying that is all the wases have helped you get to the is. And you have to decide how much of the was am I going to bring into my is. Because I need some of the was. I need some of it to orient me, to balance me, to give me some sort of foundation. But I also have to remember that the was is not the is. And the bread from heaven, yes, has always fed me, but I don't know how he, she, it, they, it's going to feed me now. because I've never been here before. I remember I did a teaching years ago about when Paul said, it's no longer I that lives, but it's Christ that lives in me, and the life that I now live. You think about, if you've lived any length of time, you've probably lived many different lives. The life I live now is very different from the life I lived when I was in college, or when I was first married, or when I was a single father. Or it's very different from when I pastored a megachurch. I mean, I've lived lots of different lives. It's all been me, and there's been enough similarity to the was I can recognize the is, but the is very different from the was. And that's what I want to say today. I want to pose this question. How do we pray in the now? Because there's so much of the was in us. Let me finish this out. I like this quote. It says, stay aligned with your own energy and let people meet you there. Because there are some people that may love you, but they don't really know who you are now. They kind of love who they remembered you as, who you were. That's why a prophet is not without honor except in his own country. Jesus goes to his hometown, and the people are like, what do you mean miracle worker? Your brothers and sisters live here. You're a carpenter. And what happened? His was consciousness kept him from doing any mighty miracles. When he lost his isness, his I amness, he was basically powerless. The power is only in the now. And the question is, well, how do I get in the now? How do I stay in the now? Because I'm very cognizant of what was. Let me finish this up, and I want to talk to you a minute. Finally, this Eckhart Tolle quote, very powerful. Unease, anxiety, tension, stress, worry, all forms of fear are caused by too much future and not enough presence. Guilt, regret, resentment, grievances, sadness, bitterness, and all forms of non-forgiveness are caused by too much past and not enough presence. All right? So there's the structure of my teaching. Now let me put a little meat on these bones. So let me just pose this to you. If you just cannot bear one more story about me and my parents, I give you permission to leave right now. I will not be offended. If you're just like, sweet Jesus, I can't hear you talk about it one more time. I will not be mad. Anybody need to leave? All right. Seriously, I will not, if you're just like, I can't go there with you again. I'm dealing with my own stuff. All right. And I hope you know, I only share things with you so that you can figure out your stuff. I have on more than one occasion been accused of being self-absorbed, and nothing could be further from the truth. I am the complete opposite. I live to serve. It's when I'm in the middle of something happening, I'm automatically thinking, how can I make this work for you to help you? Anybody that ever says, you're so full of yourself, I'm like, you have so little discernment. I am quite the opposite. You either know that or you don't. So, I recently, I've been living at the house for 6 months now, and which is half the time that I had my mom in assisted living. And, in my memories today was 10 years ago, and we were pictures of me and my kids and my grandkids. I mean, a lot of history in that house. Ken was there, And so I've dealt with a lot of things I had to work out about my dad. I just realized this week, I need to pray this. And so I finally did. I said, Spirit of God, if I haven't said this already, I'm going to say it right now. if there's something I'm supposed to learn through this, then show me what it is. Because I want to deal with, I want the whole thing to make sense. Frankly, I want to know why, if I lived eternally, why did I choose to be born? Because if that is true, why did I choose that route? Because I want to make it make sense. So pretty much I've kind of worked through all my stuff with Dad. I mean, it's been like, yeah, it's fine. I mean, I understand this. Just the 6 months I've been there has given me a lot of understanding about things and seeing things from his vantage point and just making peace with stuff and all good. Living with my mother is a whole other thing because who she is now is very different from who she was growing up and also very similar. Yesterday, she keeps getting up and turning the heat on, and I'm like, Mom, it's 100 degrees outside. You cannot turn the heat on. If you're cold, I'm gonna have to get you a sweater. So we can't live in this house with the heat on in July. And she said, but all these little children in here are cold, and I want to make sure. And I'm like, oh Lord. And if you've ever dealt, she's not that way 100% of the time. She's in and out of it. If she could have a conversation with you right now, and you'd be like, you're totally making stuff up. She wouldn't have said that. I'm like, I went through that with my dad. And people say, you're just making stuff up about him. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like when you're with him, he talks to you like everything's normal. That's not. Even with my kids, they never came out and said it, but they would kind of imply, like, I think you're too hard on Granddad. Like, he seemed to know who we were. And I'm like, I don't want to take this away from you, but as soon as you walked out of the room, he said, who are those people? So I'm just telling you, I'm not making this up. It really is real. I'm not being a drama queen about it. It's like I'm having to deal with this. I was giving Ken a little bit of a preview on the way over here. I said, let me try to explain to you what I'm going to try to teach today about faith is now, praying in the now, not dragging the was into the is, eating the manna. They that come to God must believe that He is. Ken's dad ran a auto parts store, which was virtually like a 24-hour period. Not only did he work long hours, but anybody that had a car breakdown, they would call him and Ken's uncle. They both, 3 o'clock in the morning, they go fix somebody's car. That's what he grew up with. His mother not only played the piano at the Methodist Church, but she was the school secretary, right? So she worked long, long hours. And Ken said, his parents just were gone a good bit of the time. And because he grew up in that community, on more than one occasion, I've heard him talk about how he would just go from house to house and find out what's for dinner here. And that was kind of a thing. They're like, yeah, come on in. Because they knew Miss Evelyn didn't get home in time. And if she was home, of course, she's very domestic and cooked and a great homemaker. But that wasn't always realistic. He had 2 working parents. I don't know how single parents do it, quite frankly. Any single parent that raises children they're like icons. Because even with 2 people doing it, it's virtually impossible. So he never went hungry because he could go to Miss So-and-so's house across the street. Isn't that what you said? He's just like, what are y'all having for dinner? And they would come on in. That was a typical thing. I told him, I said, I can't imagine my mother not knowing where I was for 3 minutes. I can't imagine that. If my parents had had other children, that might have slacked up some. But I remember, I was telling him today, I said, I remember I was in high school, and I called a friend of mine. His mother answered. I said, hey, Miss Brown, is Bruce there? And she said these words. She goes, I don't know where he is. And I didn't even have a neuropath for that. Like, you don't know where he is? He's only 17 years old, and you don't know where he is? I'd never even heard of such a thing. Because I grew up with my mother telling me, because she had a twin brother, she said, I can't be alone. I wasn't even alone in the womb. I have to have people with me. A few months ago, she said, have I ever said that to you? I said, yeah, you've told me that before. And I remember her telling me a story about how they got her a cat. His name was Richard. And she wanted to hold the cat, and the cat didn't want to be held, and she would force her, till finally the cat just had enough of it and just attacked her, and they had to give the cat away. But in her mind, she says, I don't understand why he didn't want to be held. I just wanted to hold him. And when she would tell me that when I was 15, I would be like, I know why. I know why Richard wanted to get up. I understand. So, it actually served me because it sort of forced me to be independent. It's why I went and got a job when I was 15. Because I don't know that my parents, I don't know if they would have ever told me to get a job. I mean, they were like just fine with me being there and them knowing where I was, and that's what they. And a lot of only children are like that. So it worked for me. It's the reason I went away to college. I couldn't wait to go away. It's the reason as soon as I got out of college, I got my first apartment. I couldn't wait to have my own bills to pay. I wanted to start my own church. It's like it actually worked for me because I was like, I got to get out of here. So you remember a few weeks ago when Jared was here, I said, Jared, we're going to be going for the meditation weekend. Can you stay with Mom? Yeah, I got it. Well, he texted me last week. His other grandmother is in hospice. And he says, I've been here since the 4th of July. I haven't even left. The only time I get I just met a cousin, a distant cousin I didn't even know I had, that she's trading off with me. So I want to say, why don't you tell your mother to come? But that's their drama. I'm like, I can't, Lord knows, I can't get in that. And he said, I just need to give you a heads up. I just don't think I'm going to be able to stay with Mimi. Okay, fine. Don't want to bother Jonah because he's up nights with the baby. Judah, can you do it? Judah's willing to do it. He said, the only thing is I've got events Friday and Saturday night. I can't get there till like 1 o'clock in the morning. I said, no, it's not going to work. And he said, just tell her I can be there in 30 minutes. I'm like, that's not going to work. So trying to figure it out because, I got people have bought hotel rooms. Christy's flying from Texas to Jacksonville to drive. People are gone to great expense. I'm going to be in St. Simon's next weekend. And so I messaged my cousin LaDonna and I said, I'm just going to throw this out. Anybody in your household, because LaDonna's got her hands full. Both her parents are 87. And she has nearly double what I have. And I said, but her son Naboth and his daughter live in wife live in an apartment downstairs. I said, just run it by. I said, I'll pay you. I just need somebody to come. Somebody needs to stay here. I said, for the most part, she goes down around 7:30 or 8. Most nights don't hear from her all night long. So there's nothing you have to do. Don't be afraid of. It's not like you're having to give her morphine or there's nothing like that. I leave the house every day for several hours, and I just say, just don't go up and down stairs, and she's fine. Turn on Fox News, she's transfixed for hours. People say to me, why don't you just take Fox News out of the like, no, I need Fox News. It's like, it's not true what they're saying, but it'll keep you entertained for hours. So, and she doesn't know half of what they're saying anyway, so it's fine. So So is it just I'm just run it by you if anybody. So Ludon texted back. She says, yeah, Naboth and Jazz, they're going to do it. I said, oh, thank you. Yay. So I texted them. I said, I'll get with y'all this week and show you how everything works. And this is perfect because they can basically just walk across the street. And I even told Mom, I said, Mom, when we go next week, I said, Naboth and Jasmine are going to stay with you for 2 nights. You understand that? Ken, we're driving down separately because he's going on to Daytona for a week. This morning I was like, what's it like to be free? He said, can't you just go down for a few days? I'm like, oh, hell no. I can remember one time before Howie's mother passed, he was telling her that he was going on a transatlantic cruise. And I said, say that again. He said, I can't imagine forming the words transatlantic to my mother. Like, what is that? What's that like? Because my life is like, we're just in Marietta. I promise we can be there, you know. And so there's a point to all this. I'm not just venting. I'm about to change your life. I have to circle the airport a little, but when I land the plane, it's worth it. So I said, Naboth and she said, oh, that's great. She said, actually, it's kind of good for them to know. I said, yay. All right, we're good to go. And so yesterday morning when she got up, it was like, when are you leaving? I said, it's not till next weekend. Don't leave me. I said, I'm not leaving you. I mean, right down the road, I have to go to this thing. Oh, you can't leave. I can't. So, Mom, it's fine. It'll work out. It's fine. So we got through yesterday, and 2 o'clock this morning, it was. I was like, oh, she's up. I can. The house is so quiet on the cul-de-sac. I can hear when somebody's up. So I went down and checked everything out. No, I guess not. Well, she was. And so I go in her bedroom, and she's like, you cannot leave me. I can't get out of this bed. You've got to find somebody. And I said, Mom, I can't just sit here. And I said, just here's your cane. If you got to go to the bathroom, I'll wait for you. Well, she got right up and went in the bathroom. She's fine. So she goes back. She said, I can't get up. I said, yeah, you can. Just sit down on the bed. I can't. I'm falling off. No, you're not. You're not falling off. Just lay back. You're sitting on the bed. Well, what about your dad? I'm going to wake him up. Mom, Dad passed away nearly 6 years ago. He's not there. I know you think he is. He's not. So we went through all that. And she said, please don't leave me. Now, let me tell you this. If you didn't know my history, you would look at that and think, why aren't you more compassionate to that frail little 87-year-old woman? Can I tell you that the me that grew up with her saying, please don't go away to college, please don't date, please don't. I mean, I had to fight to get a driver's license. She didn't want me to drive. So, I mean, to say that it doesn't trigger a lifetime of just fighting for independence. And like, you can't. I've had a life. I'm a grown man with 4 granddaughters. Like, I can't. This isn't 1972. And we got through it. And this morning when we left, she was up and dressed. And she said, I felt better after you prayed for me last night. And it's fine. I was like, okay, you're fine. And Ken gave me a good word. Because I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. She pulls this on me and says, he says, tell her you're going to put her in the hospital. I said, that's brilliant. I'm totally doing that. Like, if you're that scared, I can put you in that. And she will not like that. It's going to be fine, and I'm going to be there. Here's my point, because this is not my little therapy session. This is what I'm trying to learn for Hebrews 11:1. How do I pray for who she is now as who I am now? Because, full disclosure, there was for a moment when she was saying, don't leave me, it was like, it's 1965, it's 1968, it's a lifetime of, don't leave the house, where are you? And I mean, literally, sometimes I can feel like my throat closing up. Like, dear God, I can't breathe. And I've been I've been through a lot. I don't know if you've kept up with me the recent years. I did a lot of stuff. I got married and divorced and married and divorced. Came out, built a megachurch. Was all over the news. Wrote 16 books. I mean, I did some stuff. And so this morning, I'd already sent this outline yesterday, but I thought, this is what I'm trying to learn. How do I pray in the now without pulling in all the emotional baggage? And let me tell you this one thing that is kind of a, could you stand one more anecdote? All right. Yesterday, we had a little time off. One of the things I bought was a little table to put between our Adirondack chairs. So he put that together. It was another thing that was on the list. So we're sitting out there, and it was hot, but it was a nice day. And so I thought, you know what would be so great? I wish we had some watermelon. It would be so great. Sit on this front porch. So I go on Instacart, and they've got those little, I didn't know they were called sugar baby water, but they're those little round, seedless, like one serving ones. And I thought, I'm just going to, they can be here, I'll do fast service. They can be here in 30 minutes. And, I'm going to order some iced tea. And, it just seemed like such a great thing to do.
Right.
And sure enough, Instacart was like, we'll be right there with it. So I got one for me and one for him and one for her if she wanted one. So I got three little, I'm picturing three little beautiful things. Well, when I was growing up, my dad loved watermelon. All summer long, he kept watermelon, always. It was always a fight with them. She hated it because there'd always be half a watermelon in the refrigerator. There's no room for anything else. I heard it my whole life. He eats watermelon before he goes to bed. He's up peeing all night long. I don't get any sleep. And they used to fight about it all the time. And Dad was such an alpha male that he was like, I'm eating this watermelon. So it's like every time in the summer when he bring home a watermelon, I'm like, oh, God. Here we go. Cue the fight. And, it was always a mess, and she hated the mess, and she hated the seeds. I remember just thinking, the man, just allow him a freaking watermelon. So, yes, last night, we decided we got everything done, and so we're going to go get something to eat. And Instacart had said, we're sorry, we're running late. We'll refund your whatever you paid for quicker service. By that time, the moment had passed. You know what I mean? It seemed like this, and now it's like, no, why did I order these? So as we're leaving, I said, Mom, we're getting something to eat. I'll bring you something back. I've ordered something from Instacart. There are 3 watermelons in it. Just tell them to put them in the garage. I'll deal with it when I get back. And I'm still thinking, I'm picturing. So we're sitting there trying to eat, and I'm like, oh, what? Oh, my God, they've delivered 3 water. I'm like, oh. Mom, I'm sorry. It's a long story. I'll get them out of your way as soon as possible. And she said, oh, they're not in my way. I just thought you would like to know. And I was like, oh, okay. My wasness was judging your isness. So, okay, I'll give you that benefit of the doubt. And when he finally was cutting one up, she was saying, I said, do you want some of this? She said, no, I just want to watch y'all do it. I'm like, okay, fine. And we went out, ate a little bit of it, and we got back, and it was such a mess, and it was falling, and made it. I'm like, why did I told him, I said, I'm not going to do any more good deeds. I'm going to start doing bad deeds. Because this seemed like such a good thing to do. And now it's just, even this morning, I went out and had my coffee out there, and I've got to wash off that porch because there's, you can see where the watermelon juice, like, she had a point. Watermelons are kind of a pain in the butt. Unless you just buy them already cut up at the grocery store. But like cutting one up, yeah, there we were. And it was delicious. But it wasn't like anything like what I visualized. But my point is this. Not just with a parent, but with yourself. When you pray, find out a way to pray in the now to the bread of heaven, because what you dealt with in the past may not be what you're dealing with in the future. One day last week, he said, I think I need to get one of these meds changed because I felt lightheaded a couple of times. And so immediately I'm like, uh-oh, what do you mean? Have you called the doctor?
Right.
Because I've been through some stuff.
Right.
Just because something happened before doesn't mean it's going to happen again. Do you understand why you have to learn to pray in the now? Yes. And you have to remember where you came from. The whole point of the Passover was remembrance. Remember? When they instituted the Passover, what did he say? When your children ask, why is this night unlike any other night? You tell them. So the whole point, even the communion is a reminder of do this in what? Remembrance of me. Do you understand why? I mean, there's been 2 or 3 times, I can probably count on one hand, the times we've served communion in 11 years. You know why? Because I do want you to remember who Jesus was, but I want you to know who he is. They that come to God must believe that he is, not that he was. Have a testimony. That's great. Remember where you came from. That's great. How I got over. My soul looks back in wonder. That's great. I'm not trying to take that away from you. But tonight, when I pray for that elderly woman that I'm taking care of, I have to remember she's just an old woman who's scared and doesn't want to be left alone. And this has nothing to do with your drama in the past. That was what it was, and I have to deal with her history. I don't like it. It's just my reality. Do you understand why this is important? Yes. Because if you don't learn to pray an is prayer, you keep praying the past over and over again. And you keep recreating the past. Yes. Because you're in a creation cycle. So if your prayer has a vibe of here we go again, here it's happening again, you're not coming to God as he is. Now faith is the substance. It's substantive, it's tangible of the things we hope for. Faith says, I have it now. Because I'm going to be in St. Simon's. If I have to put her and that remaining poodle in the car with me and say, we're going to St. Simon's, you're going, because I'm going to be there. You're not going to guilt me out of going because this is not, but I'm also not going to judge you for the past. Can it be done? Jesus Christ, the same yesterday, today, and forever. But today is what matters. Give us this day our daily, what is it? Let's all stand. Aren't y'all wanting to go watch the football game or something?
No football.
Sit down. Music, please. We won't do an outro. We'll do about a 5-minute one. And this will officially kick off the meditation weekend. Did you get anything out of this today? Let's bring the lights down. Come into the now. Be present. Our God is a very present help in time of need. Inhale. Exhale. Nose. Mouth. In. Out. Now I want you to connect with the idea that right now, in this very minute, the world could end tomorrow, but in this very moment, you are in the presence, the presentness of God. You are in his presentness. You are in his isness. You are in his amness. They that come to God must believe that he is, not that he was, not even in the hope that he will be. What's going to happen tomorrow? Take no thought for tomorrow. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Eat the bread from heaven. Eat the manna. Even if you don't understand what's keeping you alive today, what's nourishing you, what's sustaining you, you don't have to understand it. You just have to eat it. You don't have to figure it out. You just have to consume it. Something got you up this morning and started you on your way. That something is the presentness of God. In his presentness is fullness of joy. And at his right hand are pleasures forevermore. Inhale. Exhale. In. Out. Inhale. Exhale. You are in Christ. Present. I am presence. I am. I am in the now. I am nowness. I am. I am grateful for what was. I embrace what is. I am fed with manna. I am fed with manna. I am. Holy Spirit, give us a revelation of the isness, the amness, the presentness of God. God is, God is, God is, God is, God is. They that come to God must believe that he is. God is. God is. God is. God is.
need to think,
Totally.
you know. It's trying to find
I,
out,
my spirit is.
yeah, I know.
The I am is what's best for